I don't even think it was necessarily like about Chris Rock making the joke. Like, I think it was bigger than that moment. And it sucks that it had to come at the expense of Chris Rock, because if you ask me, bro, for one, the joke was Bush League, but it was the look that Jada gave Will, because at first Will was laughing, this ain't the way this just happened, bro. Like, everybody was in shock, right? Today's gonna be a special episode, man, because it's like the first live show back. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been not necessarily away, but I have like been doing shows offline, just because I've been doing some collabs recently, and the collabs are coming back. I'm waiting on a couple movies to come out, so like I'm pretty sure I'll have one for Doctor Strange, and also I might have a Morbius one. I don't know, we'll see, because I don't really know that much about Morbius, to be honest. But it's one of those things where, like, if it's a super duper movie coming out, you know what I'm saying, something that's gonna be popping, I want to have a conversation about it with somebody. And hopefully, the way I usually judge it is based off of kind of like Twitter almost. Like, whoever's talking about it, I'm like, man, maybe they want to do the podcast, That's kind of my process at this point. But I haven't done a live one in a little while, just because of kind of like just before, like, I just was having burnout, and then I haven't really come back consistently to streaming since then. So I just kind of been doing it offline, but it's the first one back, and it's a doozy, bro. It's a doozy, because I know that I got Jujutsu Kaisen as the cover art, but that's only because like that's the most recent like movie and review that I'm putting out, and also for the most recent like movie I really watched. But the biggest thing on the internet in America right now is Will Smith versus Chris Rock, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that in the news segment this week. But just to start off, man, welcome back to the Why I'm Geeked show, man. This is episode 58, I think. Yeah, it's 58. And I'm super excited because we're about to get into the 60s, bro. I can't believe, like, I didn't realize how many offline episodes I did, because of just like the sheer number of episodes that we've done recently, and it's just like I kind of been like on and off in like how I'm thinking about it. But ever since, putting all the clips and stuff for the podcast, catching up with on Instagram and things like that, I've kind of realized like, we've been doing a lot. So, or more so, I haven't been keeping up with it. But I'll talk about that probably in the filler arc for this week. But it's time, bro. It's time for us to get into the news, because I gotta talk about this. I've already done a TikTok on it, but without further ado, man, let's get into the news. All right, y'all. So, the biggest thing on the internet, biggest thing in the world right now. Not even the world. That's kind of cap, because it's the world wilding right now. But in entertainment, the Oscars was last night, right? And one of the most legendary moments of all time occurred, and that was Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. Now, I'm not gonna have like the normal, I guess, take from this as far as like, they shouldn't be doing this, da 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 da. Like, I already did that. I made that video. I put that video out on TikTok. But for me, I kind of wanted to just speak on the fact that happened on live television. That wasn't scripted. It was all real. And it was just one of those things where I don't even think it was necessarily like about Chris Rock making the joke. Like, I think it was bigger than that moment, because ever since, and I'm not trying to put the blame on nobody, right? But these last few years, what I'm saying, like, since the Red Table Talk has been happening, which I think is still like a good thing, like having a podcast is a good thing, but they spilled the beans. They spilled so many beans, and that led to questions, and that would be what led us to this moment, because Will Smith has taken the high road for a very, very long time, And I think he was just tired of it, bro. And it sucks that it had to come at the expense of Chris Rock, because if you ask me, bro, for one, the joke was Bush League, right? I love saying that. I never thought in the world I would ever have a chance to say something was Bush League, but that joke was Bush League. Because for one, the joke wasn't even really that funny, right? And it was just one of those things where, like, in a different universe, I guess, like in a different scenario, right? Like that, most of the time, you know, those things just roll off somebody's back, right? But it was the look that Jada gave Will, because at first Will was laughing, you know, because it's just like, you know, that's what Chris Rock is there to do, is to make jokes and do that whole thing. But it was just that look that was just like, I didn't like that one. That sent Will up there, you know? And the level of commitment that it took for Will to, you know, because it wasn't a short distance, you know what I'm saying? He had to take some time, and he had to rack his brain up, you know what I'm saying? He had to think about what he was doing in a sense, because he just kind of went off, right? But to do all that, you know, slap my mans. Like, I think the slap was warranted. Not to say it was warranted, but it was just like, I wasn't mad at the slap, but it was just like, I feel like if after the fact that he wasn't like, you know, keep my wife's name out your mouth in an explicit manner. If he didn't say that like twice, then, and left it at like, I did what I had to do and we gonna keep the show rolling. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't have been as big of a spectacle. They might even thought it was fake at that point, but like, it might not have still had the same fire that it has now. But like I said, I think in that moment, Will was kind of trying to take his power back, right? Because at this point, he's just been the punching bag of all the August Alsina jokes, and all the just like, you know, Will, put your foot down, all this other stuff that, you know, goes online. And I'm sure that he sees it, right? Like, he doesn't live in like under the rock. Like, people, he know people out here like making fun of him in a sense, but it's just like, yo, this is one of the biggest moments of his life, right? And this is his first Oscar. Like, he's shoo-in to win, you know. I think the only other person the only other movie that I saw that was nominated was the Tick Tick Boom joint, and I think that was what Andrew Garfield was nominated for. I don't watch the Oscars, bro, so I don't really know. I just knew what happened, and I saw that he was like on the little nominee list, and I was just like, man, like, this ain't no way this just happened, bro. Like, everybody was in shock, right? And Twitter was exploding. And I seen one joke, bro, that really had me weak. It was like, because one thing that people definitely are gonna do is have a Will bar. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna have a Will and Chris Rock bar. And I don't know what I do with it. I think I just sent it to the homies. But yeah, like, this one joint was like, if Chris Rock had just said, if that's how mad he gets in March, imagine how pissed he is in August. That would have been a bar, bro. I would be like, oh. But I think it was just so much that he was in shock, right? He was in so much shock that like that just happened, that he ain't really had no words. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I get the whole comedian thing. Like, yes, he's a comedian. And it's his job to make jokes, right? And sometimes those jokes don't go over well, and sometimes you got to reap the repercussions of your actions. Yo, what's good, y'all? I am pausing this video to let you guys know that we officially have a Patreon. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck is a Patreon? Well, let me lay it out for you. Basically, our Patreon is called the Jujutsu. And in the Jujutsu, you have the opportunity to not only get early content, but also get exclusive Patreon only videos where we're discussing your favorite fandoms and also having dope conversations, bringing all of our communities across the whole metaverse, right? Because that's a thing now, and dropping it all in one place. Now there are 4 different tiers that you can join. I don't care which one you choose, just know that your support is greatly appreciated. So tap in with us, Patreon.com/Donato, and let's get back to the video. You can't really control how somebody responds to a joke, you know? And I don't think the joke was super crazy, like the joke itself. Now the whole like backstory behind it with you know, Jada having, I think how you say it is like alopecia, which is something I didn't know going into it, but you know, and he made a statement that he was like, I seen he made a statement where he said he didn't know either. But you know, it was just like one of those things where it's like, dang, like it, for me, the biggest thing was just like, it's always one of us, bruh. Like, it's always one of us. Like, if it wasn't Chris Rock on that stage, not him specifically, but like, if it was like, for one, they probably wouldn't have never made that joke. But also, 2, I don't think Will would have had the same reaction, you know? And it's just like, no matter what happens now, instead of the story being about Will winning his first, you know, Oscar, this is going to be the main part of the story, you know? And I think King Richard was a great movie. I talked about it before. I didn't give it a score because it was just like, when you do like, not necessarily like a documentary, but like a biopic type thing, and it's like Will Smith always bodies those roles, you know? And it was just like really good, you know? But I think the main thing was Will was trying to take his power back, and I'm with him, bruh, because it's just like, yo, like, none of this stuff that has been going on, like, of when he has been the butt of the joke, has been his fault, you know what I'm saying, up until this point, like, because he's just been living his life, and then, you know, as a celebrity, as a public figure, and when your wife is speaking on y'all private affairs, stuff like this is going to happen, you know, or not like this specifically, but it's just like, yo, like, I'm tired of y'all making these jokes, and I bet you nobody else press him now, you know? And Chris Rock, like, I really realized, like, recently, nobody is really like talking about Chris Rock in the sense of like, yo, I don't even know how I would even describe it, but like, I don't think that the joke itself should, because to me, Chris Rock is not really that funny. I think the stuff that he creates is better than him himself. But it's just like one of those things where with Chris Rock, it's just like, bro, it's just, you gotta hold that one, you know? And I feel like because he didn't press charges, he understands that one too. And I don't think it was like he said it with malice. I think he was just trying to be funny. It was just a layup, you know? It was right there, and he was just like, all right, boom. Like, I don't think he planned that out or nothing, you know? It just, that's what happened, and it will forever be in history. The meme will go on forever, and that's just what it is. So, but I don't think this requires like cancellation or anything like that from either party. But, you know, I don't know, bro. It was just, it's still fresh, and it's still like a wild scenario, you know, that nobody else but Will and Chris could ever really explain to, like, say like, well, what would you do in this situation? You know what I'm saying? Because it's live television, and it's just like, yo, we're at the Oscars, you know? It's just like, what do you do? What else can you do? You know? And I think Chris played it off as well as he could, but, you know, that's still an L. That's still an L. And shout out to Will for winning his first Oscar. And that's all I got on that. But, you know, that moment was freaking crazy, bro. In other news, we got some got some clips, bro, of the Batman and the Joker. Now, this is not like a new movie or anything, but this was from the Batman. It was the deleted scene that dropped like over the last week, and I'm not gonna say that I don't understand why they deleted this scene from the movie, because if you add this into it, yes, we get more context into, you know, Batman and the Joker's relationship, but to me, it doesn't really add anything else to the actual film, because prior to this, we didn't even know that the Joker was in jail, you know, until the end of the movie. So I like that they took it out and left that moment until the end, because it's just like, okay, this just builds more anticipation for the next movie to come out. But also, the fact that we got this after the fact has me super hyped for the next Batman movie as well, because of the Joker, because it's a new Joker. This is a new like direction for the character, and this one looks real wild. Like from just a visual standpoint, I don't know if y'all seen the actual clip, but yeah, if y'all haven't, y'all should definitely go check it out. But also just the dialogue that him and Batman had, because the way that the Joker, the character, not so much the actor in this scene, and Batman, not necessarily like relate to each other, but just like the need for each other in like this perpetual cycle that, you know, the Joker goes on in Batman. I really felt that in that clip, you know, because he talked about like, you know, our anniversary is coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like, didn't even know they had a clip. Yeah, Chris, like the clip, it's like 5 minutes. But, you know, they basically they got the Joker in jail. He goes to visit the Joker in jail, right? And Batman is basically trying to get a lead on the Riddler. That's basically what the clip is, but you get to see the dynamic between them. And this is probably, like, if you ask me, it's probably like the most lines Batman had in the movie, or at least a back and forth between people, other than like Jim Gordon. But I don't think it was like, I understand why they deleted it, because it didn't really add anything else to the movie, especially if that's the only cameo we're going to get from the Joker. I'd rather it be at the end to help us build anticipation for the next clip. So that joint was really cool to see. And then we also got news on the Marvel side that Wakanda Forever, the Black Panther sequel, has finished filming. So now it's all left is to do is to edit and then for it to drop. So we're going to get it. Recast T'Challa is not dead, because, you know, it could still happen at some point. I don't know, but they could do whatever they want. But it's just like, the movie is here, and I'm just excited for the movie to drop. But I'm glad that they was able to finish filming. I've covered like this whole process kind of, because, you know, at first it was more so like they couldn't get people to come to the whole COVID situation put things back, push things back further, and then the injuries and stuff like that. So to see that it finally finished has me super hyped for the future. And I'm just really just waiting for the movie, because however they plan to express and basically go about transitioning Sha'ari from just being the regular science to her taking the mantle of being the next Black Panther is going to be the major key for, like, if this joint is going to really be like that. You know what I'm saying? Because in other movies, like take for instance like Star Wars, like they've been able to bring doppelgangers in, right, and then just do the whole face scan thing, and have that person appear in the movie. They did it with Luke. With Paul Walker, you know what I'm saying? They had his brother come and help film that joint. So, you know, the possibilities are really endless until we see the movie, and then we'll know the direction that they're going to go. But at this point, you know, I feel like they're still sticking with their guns, and depending on how this next movie does will kind of tell us the future of this franchise. But, you know, I hope that the movie is good, because, you know, Black Panther is a very important character, and just a very important franchise in general in the whole Marvel universe. So I don't want to lose out access to Wakanda, you know, and just telling more stories about that because of this. So, you know, it's just one of those things where we're gonna have to wait and see. But that's pretty much it for the news this week, man. Let's get into the weekly recap. All right, y'all. So, it's been like a week or so since Jujutsu Kaisen movie 0 dropped, and I'm excited because this movie, it laid a really good foundation. And if y'all seen my review for it, y'all understand why. And I won't necessarily get too much in the actual movie itself, but more so like what this movie did for me. And then we'll move on from there. But I did definitely want to mention it because it's the most recent movie that I really covered. And the main thing the main takeaway that I got from the movie was that it was a chicken before is the whole like the chicken comes before the egg. I don't know why I couldn't say that joint, but Yuta and Yuji, right? Yuta came before Yuji. This is a prequel, you know, if y'all didn't know. But I still would recommend you watch the anime before you watch this movie, because some of the side characters have a better payoff if you watch the anime first. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it in that order, but it's just like, for me, like, I'm glad that I saw it the way I did, you know. But overall, it was a great movie, you know. Suguru, we got to see his whole master plan and, you know, all that stuff play out, and how this kind of sets up the main story for the anime. And really just get a cooler inside look on like what the whole Jujutsu Kaisen school is really for, and get a better understanding of just the world in general. So that joint was fire. And I also I finished season 1 of Snowfall recently, so I'm still on that journey. I thought I was going to be done because I finally finished Game of Thrones, right, like last week, and I thought that I'll be able to catch up by the time Snowfall premiered, but that's just not the case. So hopefully by the end I'll be all caught up. But first season was really cool, and only thing I really wanted to say about the show so far is I'm only really interested in pretty much like 2 storylines. So 2 of the really only 1 of the 3, but they all connect, right? So with Snowfall, you have the main character, which is Franklin, but then you also have the DEA, which is like, or not, I don't know if it's DEA. I don't think it's DEA. I think it's CIA. I'm pretty sure it's CIA. You have the CIA side, you know, which was bringing all the drugs in, right? And this is like Narcos vibes, but not really at the same time. Like, because it's like, yes, we still got, this is like the American side of it, like the other side of the coin in a sense, because with Narcos, it's all about, what the Colombians and the Cali cartel and all these different cartels was doing outside in their own countries, right? But this has a lot more to do with America, and just like how like the crack epidemic basically started in California, and it's interesting to see this happen because like I know where the show goes because I've seen clips and I've seen just like, you know, the way Franklin has transitioned over the season, just like doing my research and stuff. But watching it, like every episode, I feel like this weird feeling where it's like I'm kind of anxious because I'm like, yo, like I know something crazy is gonna happen. I'm like, dang, like I want to watch this, but at the same time I don't, because I'm like, dang, I don't want something like crazy to happen. But it's weird the way these shows make like some of these characters heroes, even though they're doing bad things. Like, it's really weird how that can happen. And it's just like, and it's just used for entertainment. And it's one of those things where it's like, I shouldn't be hyped that this man is making all his money selling drugs. But because it's a show, I'm like, dang, I want Franklin to win type beat. But it's just like, yo, like, you poison your own community. But it's not. They didn't know, bruh. They didn't know what it was going to do. But, you know, it's just one of those things. It's super interesting, bruh. And it's because it's a whole different generation. But that show is crazy, bruh. And I'm excited for season 2. First part of this, the first part of episode 1 of season 2 is already going stupid. The next thing is another FX show, Atlanta, bro. Atlanta, we got our first 2 episodes in the books. They took us on a journey, bro, and I forgot the kind of storytelling that Atlanta provides us, bro, because I won't say it's not necessarily like straightforward, but they throw us through a loop in the first episode, and I'm still kind of trying to figure out like if it was a dream or not necessarily how it connects to the main story, because it does connect, but they don't really explain what we saw. And they kind of carry that whole same energy to the next episode. It's a very interesting show, and it's a very interesting dynamic between these characters, because this is Atlanta, but they're not in Atlanta anymore. You know, like this is apparently like maybe a year or so, maybe even 2 years since the season prior. And as I was learning this, I was just like, oh, so they really get into the money now. That's crazy. Okay. Because I originally, like, just that first whole, like, you know, the way the last season ended with, you know, Aaron finding the gun in his bag that he forgot to throw away, right? That basically saved his career. He put that in somebody else's bag and they got jammed up for it. And now he's a seasoned manager and they're overseas doing tours, even though there was a lot of funny stuff happening in the city that they were in. It was just like, bro, this is a crazy show. And I'm just like, I don't know where we're going. I thought I knew where we're going this season, but I honestly don't. And, you know, knowing that this is the last season, it always makes me nervous because, you know, we've been on a journey with these characters and I want them to all have like a good ending and a good like way that they transition to like the rest of their fictional life. But I don't know. I don't know how things are going to turn out. But this John was full of surprises. I'm gonna do a recap of it this week on YouTube. So definitely be tuned for that. But pretty much like every episode I have a recap. And the first 2, they up. They're super up, bro. Like the first 2 are definitely dubs. So if y'all haven't seen that joint and haven't caught up, definitely go do that. The next one is kind of like next thing I want to talk about that I watched over the weekend. I didn't finish, and that was just because it was just mad late. Turning Red, and this is a Pixar movie. But even though I didn't finish the movie yet, I watched a documentary about how they made it. I love those documentaries that Disney and Pixar are putting out on Disney Plus, because I love just seeing like the process of creating something like that. I hope they do one of these for the Lightyear movie, just because I'm super interested in like just what that story is going to be. But yeah, Turning Red, as far as like the movie goes, it was cool. It was interesting. I still didn't really finish it yet, just because I fell asleep. And that was not so much because of the movie, more so just because I was tired, bruh. I was tired. But yeah, I still need to watch that and finish that. But so far so good. I like the initial premise of the movie. It's pretty good. But the last thing that I'm gonna talk about in the weekly recap is AOT, man. Attack on Titan. We didn't get an episode this week that I've seen. I don't think anything came out. But the episode last week was a doozy, bro. And we got the new Titan, which is Falco. And Falco has probably like the best Titan design out of all of them, because it ties in with his name, and it ties in like with just the overall like aesthetic. And it's just like, it's different than the rest, because for one, he got feathers and he looks like Chicken Little, but also it feels like they put way more thought into like how they were going to design him. He still doesn't really know how to use his Titan yet, which is going to be fun to see him trying to learn that. And we just don't know what side everybody is really going to end up on, because there's only really two sides left, that being Aaron's side, which is focusing on basically killing everybody except for his people, except for his island. And then the other side of just like banking on humans and not wanting genocide, basically. So there's going to be bumps in the road, and we've seen that over the last few episodes. It's just like where they're going to have to really make hard decisions. And I feel like they've done that well so far. But my biggest critique of season 4 so far has been like just the, not necessarily filler episodes, but just the low moments of conversation can get like really boring. But when you got episodes like the most recent one, they just really wake you up and make you remember like what the show really is, which is really dope, right? But I don't know. I'm still like pretty half and half with how I feel about this season, because there's moments that I love, bro. There's moments that I love, but there's also moments that I'm just like, it's just so whack. Like, I don't know. I don't know, bro. That's how I feel. That's why I don't like final seasons, bro. Because it's so many expectations, and it's almost impossible, right? It's almost impossible to get it right. It's very rare where that happens. And a lot of times you don't feel like it was the right thing to do until the very end. And right now I'm just indifferent, bro. I'm indifferent. But I love Falco's Titan design. And I'm excited for the next episode to come out. And I'm going to get back on my anime grind too, because it's a lot of cool stuff that's out. There's another joint I've been seeing clips of on Twitter where it's like this little king. You know what I'm saying? He just going crazy with a sword and jumping around, and like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I want to watch. And with DreamCon coming up, I gotta stay well versed. You know what I'm saying? So definitely more anime content coming out soon. Not only on just the regular joints, but TikTok, all that. And I'm pretty sure that leads me into the filler arc, because that's kind of what I want to talk about, content. So let's get it. All right, so content, right? I know I started a podcast talking about just the schedule and what you guys can be expecting, because I don't want to go through burnout again, bro. I honestly don't. And until like I figure out how to really build a community, not to say we don't have one right now, because I think we do, but it's not centered around anything. It's kind of like we got people from here and got people from there, and like, you know, it's like one of those things where it's not like necessarily like a united super duper thing right now. It's more so like certain people like when I do this on Twitch, and like some people like when I do the podcast on Twitch, some people like when I play games, some people like when I just, you know, or just it's just chatting, like. And I think all streamers go through this, but because there's not like a game that, you know, because at the end of the day, Twitch is a gaming platform, but because there's not a game that has like me engulfed in like only wanting to play that game, I've kind of just, I don't want to say gave up on that, but like that's not necessarily where my focus is anymore. Because for me, like what I want this community to be is a place where we can come and talk about TV, movies, and anime, and just content in general. And I realize like the more and more I keep continuing to play games, not to say that I will never play games again, but that starts to become the focus, and I don't want that to be the case. That doesn't mean I'm never going to play games again, but like I need to add stuff to the stream that, you know, positively enforces what I want the stream to be about. My biggest influence right now on Twitch is Big Boss Buzz, because she does like true crime, but also like talks about like the culture and just videos that, you know, she has people curate them, right? Which is like everybody, you know, not everybody, but there's levels to everything, right? Like I don't got a whole team behind me like coming up and screening videos and saying like, oh, I should watch this and watch that. And I kind of been just trying like over the course of like not only the burnout, because I realized like I got to do something different because this is not working. But over the course of that, I realized like, yo, like if I really want to create content like I want to on YouTube, I'm not gonna be able to stream every single day and still maintain a healthy like lifestyle, like going to the gym, eating right, still, you know, doing what I gotta do offline. I gotta build my life towards being able to sustain and be consistent. And I figured like one of those best ways to do it would be to have like a legit, like until I can get, you know, consistent at being here every day on Monday. Just like there's no point, because if I'm not consistent, you're not going to ever know when I'm going to go live. Like there's no way to build a community if you're not consistently, you know, being there with your community. And I'm just like, bro, I gotta change something, you know? So, as of today, basically, I'm gonna be streaming every Monday. I think I'm gonna take the time frame off of it because of just the nature of my schedule and how things work, you know, because a lot of times I end up doing photo shoots on Mondays too. And I think it's like a good day because it's like the amount of content I want to be able to make out of my stream, and then also have content I do off stream. It'll work better if like this is the main thing that I do on Monday, right? And that just builds out the rest of my week, right? So I had to figure out ways to do that, and one of those ways is going to be to kind of just like not living in an echo chamber, kind of like about what I was talking about earlier in the stream, which is like only talking about my ideas and covering my ideas. Because what I eventually want to happen is for, you know, myself in chat and whoever else is in the stream to be able to hold the discussion and conversation about whatever we're talking about that day. But until I can do that, there's a whole thing called YouTube of people expressing their opinions on all the things that I care about and want to talk about. So I'd be doing myself a disservice if I didn't, tap into those things, because it'll also help with like the podcast, because I might be able to do some collabs with some of these people. I don't necessarily got anybody in mind right now. I'm kind of just building out the roster of like people that I want to watch and think makes good videos. But also, like, I understand that like the whole reaction content era, or like there's a certain way that you do things, I guess. And I'm figuring out the best way to do that. So in the midst of like this content ramp up, it's like also a content like decline. So even though like I'm gonna be streaming less, what I do on stream will be more impactful, so I think that's the best way that I can describe it. And I'm really like not only gonna go hard on like all my different things, but also like YouTube, having shorts and also TikToks and reels, and figuring out what works best on all these platforms. So there might be times where I do get on stream and it's kind of just like a creative stream and it's just a work stream. And there's other times where, it'll be more of a watch party day. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just, it's a process, bro. And I'm enjoying it. And I wanted to just express that and let you guys know that ahead of time, because burnout is like one of the worst things that can happen, bro. And I don't want to be burnt out again. And not to say that will never happen again, but I'm going to do my best to prevent that, So while also putting out as much content as possible, bro. So, it's just part of the game, bro. I realize at this point I don't really have a title. I think if it's going to be anything, it's probably be just legendary, because of like just Will Smith is slap, bro. Because that joke was legendary, bro. I ain't gonna cap. But yeah, that's all I got for this episode of the Why I'm Geeked show, man. More stuff is on the way. Y'all stay tuned. And I'm gonna holler at y'all in the next one. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Listen on all your favorite audio platforms. It's also on YouTube. Follow everything at Why I'm Geeked. And I'm gonna holler at y'all in the next one, man. Y'all be easy. You know the vibes. Always keep growing, so you're going to be boy G. I'm gone. Peace.